The day the aliens arrived started like any other. The sky was blue over Lakeside, Oregon, and Paul Bennett was getting his third-grade class ready for their field trip to the Science Center. 22 excited 8- and 9-year-olds lined up by the school bus, lunchboxes in hand. "Remember to stay with your buddy," Paul said, checking his clipboard. He smiled as Lisa Miller fixed Jordan Taylor's crooked name tag. The kids had been looking forward to this trip for weeks. No one noticed the strange lights in the sky until they reached the Science Center. The large domed building sat on a hill overlooking the town and the lake beyond. As the children piled out of the bus, one of them pointed up. "Mr. Bennett, what are those?" Paul looked up and felt his stomach drop. Two massive shapes hovered above Earth's atmosphere, just visible to the naked eye. They weren't planes or satellites. They weren't anything made by humans. "Everyone inside quickly," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. The radio in the Science Center lobby was broadcasting an emergency alert. Two alien vessels had entered Earth's orbit simultaneously. They appeared to be fighting each other, not humans. The United Earth Defense Force had made contact with both ships. People were advised to stay indoors. Paul gathered the children in the planetarium, a large round room with seats that reclined to view the dome ceiling. He thought it would be easier to keep them calm in one place. "We're going to stay here until your parents can pick you up," he told them. "Who wants to see the star show while we wait?" The children cheered, momentarily distracted from the strange news. Paul was grateful for small mercies. In space, Captain Olivia Wright of the UEDF vessel Horizon faced an impossible situation. Her ship had intercepted two alien armadas as they entered the solar system. Both alien species, who called themselves the Volcari and the Zetari, were already at war with each other. Earth was caught in the middle. "Captain, the Volcari commander is hailing us again," said her communications officer. Olivia straightened her uniform. On screen, the alien that appeared had gray-green skin, a heavy brow, and what looked like armored plates along its jaw. It wore elaborate battle armor with sharp angles. "Commander Drezek," Olivia said, "I must again insist that you take your conflict elsewhere. Earth is a neutral planet." "Neutral means weak," Drezek growled. "Your weapons are primitive. Your ships are slow. The Volcari Empire requires your world's position. Submit and serve us, or we will crush you alongside the Zetari scum." Before Olivia could respond, another transmission cut in. This alien was tall and slender, with iridescent blue skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and entirely black. "Overseer Nihilith of the Zetari Collective," it said in a melodic voice. "Do not listen to Volcari lies. They are brutal conquerors. We seek only to protect your world from them. Allow us to establish bases on your planet, and we will defend you." Olivia shook her head. "Earth belongs to humans. We do not want your war. We ask both of you to leave our system immediately." Both aliens laughed in their own ways, Drezek with a rumbling growl, Nihilith with a high-pitched trill. "You do not understand your situation," Nihilith said. "This conflict has raged for 300 years across 12 star systems. Your wishes are irrelevant." The transmissions cut off. Olivia turned to her tactical officer. "Status?" "Both fleets are deploying smaller ships. They're heading toward Earth." Olivia closed her eyes briefly. First contact with not one but 2 alien species, and both wanted to use Earth as a battlefield. Battle stations. "Warn all Earth defense bases. We need to protect civilian areas." Back in Lakeside, the Science Center shook as something exploded in the distance. The star show flickered and went dark. Children screamed. "It's okay," Paul said, turning on the emergency lights. "Just a power outage. Who wants to play a game?" But more explosions followed. Through the windows, Paul could see strange aircraft zooming over the town. Some were angular and dark, others sleek and glowing blue. They fired at each other with weapons that looked like lightning. The Science Center director, Alan Garcia, hurried into the planetarium. "The news says they're attacking military bases first, but some of their ships are crashing." "One went down by Miller's farm, just a few miles from here." Paul nodded grimly. "Can we contact the parents?" "Phone lines are jammed. Internet too." We need to keep the children here for now. It's safer than trying to transport them. Paul looked at his students, who were watching him with wide, frightened eyes. We'll have a sleepover at the Science Center, an adventure. The children seemed uncertain, but Jordan raised his hand. Ken. We see the dinosaur exhibit? Paul smiled with relief. Great idea. Let's go see the dinosaurs and then we'll have our lunch. As he led the children through the building, more explosions rocked the town. The Science Center was built into the hillside with thick concrete walls. It would be safe, Paul told himself. It had to be on the horizon. Olivia watched in horror as the first shots hit Earth. The alien ships were targeting military installations, but their weapons were so powerful that surrounding areas were affected too. We can't stop them, her tactical officer said. There are too many and they're too advanced. Olivia gripped her chair. We don't need to defeat them. We just need to distract them from civilians while Earth evacuates critical areas. Target the ships heading for populated zones. First, the Horizon moved into position, firing its weapons at a squadron of Valkyrie fighters heading toward a city. The Earthship was larger than the fighters, but hopelessly outmatched in technology. Captain, we've got incoming from the Za'Tari side too, Olivia braced herself. Evasive maneuvers! The Horizon rocked as a glancing blow struck its hull. Alarms blared. Hull breach on Deck 4, sealing emergency doors. Olivia knew they couldn't keep this up for long. Send a message to all Earth Defense Forces. Focus on evacuation, not engagement. And someone get me a direct line to both alien commanders. There has to be a way to reason with them. Night fell over Lakeside. Paul had gathered all the blankets and cushions from the Science Center offices to make beds for the children in the planetarium. Most were finally asleep, exhausted from fear and excitement. Paul sat by the window with Alan, watching the alien ships battle in the distance. The night sky lit up with weapons fire like deadly fireworks. What do they want? Alan? Whispered. Paul shook his head. I don't know. But whatever it is, I hope they leave us out of it. A loud crash outside made them both jump. Something had landed in the Science Center parking lot. Through the darkness, Paul could make out a small ship, smoking and sparking. It wasn't human. The door of the ship opened. A figure stumbled out, tall, armored, and definitely not human. One of them is here, Paul whispered, his blood turning cold. We need to hide the children. But before they could move, another explosion lit up the sky. A second ship, glowing blue, descended rapidly toward the Science Center. The aliens had arrived in Lakeside. Paul grabbed Alan's arm and pulled him away from the window. Wake up the older kids first, he whispered. We need to move everyone to the basement storage area. They worked quickly, gently shaking the children awake. 8-year-old Lisa rubbed her eyes. What's happening, Mr. Bennett? We're playing a new game, Paul said, forcing a smile. It's called Super Quiet Hide and Seek. We all have to go downstairs without making a sound. Outside, they heard metal striking concrete, footsteps, heavy and slow. The alien from the crashed ship was approaching the building. Paul led the children through the dinosaur exhibit toward the service stairs. The emergency lights cast long shadows from the T-Rex skeleton. Jordan clutched Paul's hand tightly. Are the aliens going to eat us? He asked. No, Paul said firmly. They probably just want to look at the dinosaurs too. A loud bang echoed through the building, the front doors. Something had forced them open. Alan gestured toward a door marked Staff Only. Beyond it lay the stairs to the storage level. Hurry, he whispered. They had just reached the door when blue light flashed through the windows. The second ship had landed. Now there were 2 aliens to worry about. Paul ushered the last child through the door when he heard a crash from the dinosaur exhibit. The T-Rex skeleton collapsed, bones scattering across the floor. A large figure stood among the wreckage. It was nearly 7 feet tall with gray-green skin and armor that seemed to be part of its body. Its eyes glowed yellow in the darkness. A Valkyrie soldier. Paul froze. The alien looked directly at him. It raised a weapon. Run, Paul told Alan. Get the children to the storage room. Lock the door. What about you? I'll distract it. Go. As Alan disappeared through the door, Paul stepped forward. His heart hammered in his chest, but he kept his voice steady. "This is a place of learning," he said. "There are children here. Please take your fight elsewhere." The alien tilted its head. When it spoke, its voice was deep and rough. "Children? You mean immature humans?" Before Paul could answer, another crash came from the lobby. A second alien appeared, this one tall and slender with blue skin that seemed to glow from within. 4 arms moved in fluid motions as it held some kind of scanning device. A Zitari, the 2 aliens spotted each other immediately. The Valkyrie raised its weapon. The Zitari's scanner transformed into a glowing blue blade. "Cracks of the Valkyrie elite," the green alien growled. "Your death will bring me honor." "Ellerai." "Of the Zitari collective," the blue alien replied. "Your kind knows nothing of honor." They lunged at each other, but Paul stepped between them. "Stop," he shouted. "This is neutral ground." "There are children here." Both aliens paused, their weapons inches from Paul. "Step aside, human," Crack said. "This fight is not yours." "It became mine when you brought it to my planet," Paul replied. "To this building, where my students are." Ellerai's large black eyes blinked. "Students? Explain. I'm a teacher. I have 22 children under my care. They're 8 and 9 years old. Too young to be part of your war." The aliens exchanged looks that Paul couldn't interpret. In Valkyrie culture, immature ones remain in breeding facilities until old enough to serve, Crack said. "Why are yours here?" "They're here to learn," Paul explained. "To see the exhibits." It was supposed to be a fun day. A small voice came from behind Paul. "Mr. Bennett?" Paul's blood ran cold. He turned to see Lisa standing in the doorway, her eyes wide as she stared at the aliens. "Lisa, go back downstairs," Paul said gently, but Lisa stepped forward, curious rather than afraid. "Are you really aliens? Do you have spaceships? Can you fly?" Cracks looked down at the small human with confusion. Ellerai moved one of her 4 hands as if to scan Lisa, then stopped. "This is one of your students?" Ellerai asked. "Yes," Paul said, moving to stand beside Lisa. "Her name is Lisa. She's 8 years old." More children appeared in the doorway, their curiosity overcoming their fear. Jordan pushed to the front. "Wow!" he exclaimed. "You look so cool. Are those real horns?" He pointed at the ridges on Crax's head. The Valkyrie seemed stunned by the question. "They are DS." The moment of confusion was broken by a voice from Crax's armor. "Elite Squad 7, secure the high ground position for communications relay. Eliminate all resistance." Ellerai received a similar message. "Technician Ellerai? The transmitter on your scanner shows a suitable location for signal amplification. Secure it immediately." Both aliens looked up at the Science Center's dome, which housed a large radio telescope. Both wanted to use it to contact their forces. "You must leave," Ellerai told Crax. "The Zitari Collective claims this structure. The Valkyrie Empire takes what it wants," Crax replied. Raising his weapon again, the building shook as explosions erupted outside. Both alien forces were approaching the Science Center. "Please," Paul said, stepping between them again. "Whatever you want, don't fight here. These children have nothing to do with your war." More children had gathered around them now. One small boy offered Ellerai a candy bar. A girl with pigtails asked Crax if his skin was naturally green or if it was makeup. The aliens looked increasingly uncomfortable. "Why do they approach us without fear?" Crax asked. "Do they not understand danger?" "They're children," Paul explained. "They're curious. They trust adults to protect them." Another explosion, closer this time. Part of the ceiling cracked. "We need to get everyone to safety," Paul said urgently. "The basement storage area is reinforced." "It will be safer there." Crax and Ellerai exchanged looks again. "A temporary ceasefire," Crax suggested, "until we resolve the situation with the small humans." "Agreed," Ellerai said. "The immature ones should not be harmed," Paul exhaled with relief. "Thank you, children. We're going back downstairs now. Our new visitors are coming with us." As they moved toward the stairs, the ceiling cracked further. A large piece broke loose, falling directly toward two children who had lagged behind. Without hesitation, both aliens moved. Crax shoved one child out of the way while Elora used her forearms to catch the falling debris before it could crush the other. The children were safe. The aliens looked at each other with new understanding in their eyes. The young ones must be protected, Crax said. On this we agree, Elora replied. They followed Paul and the children downstairs, just as the battle outside the Science Center intensified. The storage basement of the Science Center was filled with wooden crates and old exhibits. Paul and Alan quickly cleared a space in the center of the room. The children sat in a circle on the floor while the two aliens stood awkwardly to the side. Are you hungry? Paul asked the aliens. The children have lunch boxes. Crax shook his head. Valkyrie warriors can go 10 days without nutrition, Elora tilted her head. I would be interested to analyze human food. Jordan immediately opened his lunchbox and held out half of his sandwich. It's peanut butter and jelly. My mom makes the best ones. Elora carefully took the sandwich with one of her 4 hands. She examined it, then placed a small portion. In her mouth, her large black eyes widened. This contains plant material and processed animal secretions? I guess so, Jordan said with a shrug. It's good though, right? It is. Different, Elora said. She seemed unsure whether she liked it or not. Lisa approached Crax with a juice box. Do you want a drink? You have to poke the straw in the top. The Valkyrie warrior stared at the small package. This is a weapon? Lisa giggled. No, silly. It's apple juice. Look, I'll show you. She demonstrated how to use the straw. After a moment of hesitation, Crax tried it. His yellow eyes blinked rapidly. It is sweet, he said, sounding surprised. The building shook again as more explosions sounded. Outside, the children huddled closer together. Paul checked his phone again, still no signal. How long will this battle last? He asked the aliens, Crax grunted. Until one side is victorious. The Valkyrie do not retreat. Neither do the Z'Atari, Elora added. This conflict has continued for 3 centuries. 300 years? Alan whispered, That's insane. Why are you fighting for so long? Paul asked. The aliens looked at each other. The Valkyrie stole technology from the Z'Atari collective, Elora said. The Z'Atari attacked a Valkyrie breeding facility, Crax countered. That was in response to Valkyrie aggression. Your kind struck first. They might have started fighting again, but a small voice interrupted them. My mom says fighting doesn't solve problems, said Lisa. She says you should use your words. The aliens fell silent, looking at the small human with confusion. In both our cultures, Elora explained gently, conflicts are resolved through shows of strength or superior strategy. That's dumb, Jordan said bluntly. What if everyone just gets hurt and nothing gets fixed? Crax made a rumbling sound in his chest that might have been a laugh. You're very direct for a small human. Another explosion, much closer this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. Several children began to cry. We need to contact our forces, Elora said to Paul. Tell them this area must not be targeted. The communication systems are down, Paul replied. And I don't think either side would listen to us anyway. Crax touched something on his armor. I can attempt to send a message through Valkyrie channels. As can I through Z'Atari networks, Elora added. Both tried, but their expressions soon showed failure. The signal cannot penetrate the building's structure, Elora said. And our forces are jamming each other's communications, Crax added. A loud crash came from upstairs. Part of the building had collapsed. We need to find another way out, Paul said. This place isn't safe anymore. Alan pointed to a maintenance tunnel that leads to the hillside behind the center. We could try that. As they prepared to move, Crax received another message from his commanders. This one came through clearer. Elite Squad 7, the structure must be secured at all costs. Eliminate all resistance. No survivors necessary. Paul saw the alien's expression change. What is it? Crax looked troubled. My commanders ... do not care if the small humans survive. At the same moment, Elora received her own message. Technician LRI, prepare for energy pulse deployment. The structure will be neutralized. Casualties are acceptable. The blue alien's 4 hands twitched nervously. My collective is preparing a weapon that will destroy this entire building. The children looked up at the aliens with wide, frightened eyes. Paul stepped forward. These are children, he said firmly. In human culture, they are sacred. Their protection comes before everything else. Every human adult would die to protect them. They are our future, our hope, our reason for existence. Krax and LRI exchanged puzzled looks. In Valkyrie culture, immature ones are valued for their potential service to the Empire, Krax said, but they are replaceable. Zetari offspring. Our resources, LRI added. They are raised collectively to serve the greater good. That's not how we see our children, Paul explained. Each one is unique, precious, and irreplaceable. We build our whole society around protecting them, teaching them, and helping them grow. The aliens were silent, considering this strange concept. Lisa tugged on Krax's armored hand. Are you going to help us? Mr. Bennett says adults are supposed to keep kids safe. The Valkyrie warrior looked down at the small human hand on his armor. Something shifted in his yellow eyes. He began, then stopped. A child's drawing caught his attention. During their wait, some of the children had been drawing with crayons from their backpacks. One picture showed a green figure holding hands with a small human. It was labeled, "My New Friend Krax." LRI was having a similar experience. Jordan had offered her his prized possession, a small model spaceship. You can borrow it, the boy said, since yours crashed. The Zetari held the toy carefully in her 4 hands, looking from it to the boy with an expression of wonder. Another explosion rocked the building. The lights flickered. We must decide, LRI said to Krax. Our forces will not stop. Krax nodded slowly. For the first time in 3 centuries, I find myself in agreement with a Zetari, he turned to Paul. We will help you protect the small humans, but we must act quickly. There is a cave system beyond the hill, LRI added. If we can reach it, the rock will shield you from sensors, Paul nodded. Thank you, both of you. As they prepared to leave through the maintenance tunnel, Alan pulled Paul aside. Can we trust them? He whispered. Paul watched as Lisa showed Krax how to draw a star, while Jordan explained his toy spaceship to LRI. I think we can, he said. Something is changing in them. I can see it. Outside, the battle for Earth continued. But inside the Science Center basement, something unprecedented was happening. Ancient enemies were setting aside their hatred for a common cause, protecting human children. The maintenance tunnel was narrow and dark. Krax led the way, his armor giving off a faint yellow glow. LRI used one of her devices to create a soft blue light for those in the middle. Paul and Alan brought up the rear, making sure no child was left behind. Stay close, Paul whispered. And remember, super quiet hide-and-seek is still on. The children moved in a line, each holding the hand of the child in front of them. They were scared, but brave. Jordan kept his eyes fixed on LRI's glowing blue skin. Lisa stayed close to Krax, somehow unafraid of the large alien warrior above them. The battle for the Science Center continued. They could hear explosions and the strange, high-pitched sounds of alien weapons. How much farther? Paul asked. The tunnel extends for approximately 300 more meters, LRI answered. It will exit near the base of the hill. And then to the caves, Krax added. We must move quickly. When my squad realizes I have disobeyed orders, they will hunt us, as will mine, LRI said. The tunnel began to slope upward. The air grew cooler. They were getting closer to the exit. Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, Captain Olivia Wright was making a desperate gamble. The Horizon had taken heavy damage but was still operational. Her communications officer had managed to tap into both Valkyrie and Zetari frequencies. Are you sure about this, Captain? Her first officer asked. It could make things worse. Olivia nodded grimly. We've tried threats. We've tried diplomacy. Now let's try something they might not expect. The truth about what they're destroying. She took a deep breath and began broadcasting. Not threats or demands, but images. Videos of Earth's children, schools, playgrounds, families, hospitals where newborns were tenderly cared for, birthday parties, school plays, parents reading bedtime stories along with the images. She sent a simple message in both alien languages. This is what we're fighting for. Back in the tunnel, Krax suddenly stopped. The group halted behind him. What is it? Pol asked, concerned. The Valkyrie warrior touched his armor where some kind of receiving device was embedded. A transmission from your orbital vessel. Ellery was also receiving the broadcast. Her large black eyes blinked rapidly as she processed the images. Is this normal? She asked, gesturing to a scene of a human father teaching his daughter to ride a bicycle. Adults spending time with immature ones like this? Of course, Paul said. That's what families do. Families? Krax asked, the word seemingly unfamiliar. Parents and children living together, Paul explained. Loving each other, taking care of each other. Both aliens looked confused. In Valkyrie culture, offspring are separated from birthing units immediately, Krax said. They are raised by designated trainers to serve the Empire. Zatari young are. Also raised collectively, Ellery added. The concept of individual parental units remaining with their specific offspring is foreign to us. Before Paul could respond, they reached the end of the tunnel. A metal grate blocked their way. Krax easily pulled it aside. They emerged into the cool night air at the base of the hill. The science center was now partly collapsed, flames lighting up sections of the building. In the distance, alien ships fired at each other in the sky above Lakeside. The caves are there, Ellery said, pointing to a rocky outcropping about half a mile away. We must cross open ground to reach them. Paul looked at the frightened children. We'll go in small groups, 5 children at a time with an adult. We'll go first, Krax said, to ensure the path is safe. I will scan for approaching forces, Ellery added, manipulating her devices. The first group prepared to leave, Krax with 5 children, including Lisa. They had just started moving when Ellery's scanner beeped urgently. Valkyrie patrol approaching from the north, she said. 6 warriors. Krax pushed the children back toward the tunnel entrance. Hide, I will deal with them. They'll kill you for betraying them, Paul said. Perhaps, the alien warrior acknowledged, but the small humans will have a chance. Before he could move, Ellery's scanner beeped again. Zatari squad approaching from the east. 4 technicians with pulse weapons. They were surrounded. In orbit. Captain Olivia Wright continued her broadcast. The images of Earth's children played on every frequency. Some showed children laughing, playing, learning. Others showed them being protected, comforted when hurt, celebrated for their achievements. This is humanity, Olivia's voice declared over the images. This is what your war is destroying. Not soldiers, not weapons, children, families, our future. At first, there was no response from either alien fleet. The battle continued. But then, something unexpected happened. A Valkyrie soldier sent a message, not to his commanders but directly to the human ship. The young ones in your images, they live with their birth units? Similar messages began coming in from individual ships on both sides. Questions about human children, about families, about why humans would risk everything to protect their young. Slowly, the rate of fire between the alien fleets decreased. Back on the ground, Krax and Ellery stood protectively in front of the tunnel entrance. Pol and Alan gathered the children behind them. Whatever happens, Paul told the children, stay quiet and stay together. The Valkyrie patrol emerged from the trees first. 6 warriors, weapons ready, their leader stepped forward. Elite Krax, he growled. You have disobeyed direct orders. Step aside so we may secure the structure? I cannot, Krax replied. There are immature humans here under my protection. The patrol leader's yellow eyes narrowed. You protect enemy young? This is treason. From the other direction, the Zatari squad appeared, 4 tall blue aliens with glowing weapons. Technician Ellery, their leader called. You have failed to prepare the site for pulse deployment. Explain yourself. Ellery stood her ground, all four arms activated with defensive technology. There are young ones here. Innocent children who must be protected. This is not our concern? The Za'Tari leader replied coldly. The collective's needs outweigh individual immature units. Both patrols moved closer, weapons raised. Krax and Ellery prepared to fight, former enemies now standing together. At that moment, a small figure darted out from behind them. Lisa ran forward and stood between the aliens. Stop fighting, she shouted. Mr. Bennett says fighting doesn't solve problems. Pole's heart nearly stopped. Lisa, come back. But the little girl stood her ground. We didn't do anything wrong. We just wanted to see the dinosaurs. Why are you being mean? The alien patrols hesitated, weapons still raised but not firing. A Valkyrie warrior stepped forward to look more closely at the small human. This is what you protect? He asked Krax. This tiny thing? Yes, Krax replied firmly. She's called Lisa. She showed me how to draw stars. A Za'Tari technician moved closer as well, her black eyes studying Lisa with curiosity. Why does it not fear us? She, Ellery corrected, and she has courage, more courage than many warriors. In the uncomfortable silence that followed, another child stepped forward. Jordan joined Lisa, taking her hand. Ellery and Krax are our friends now, he announced. They're going to help us get to the caves. You should help too. One by one, more children came forward until all 22 stood in front of the alien patrols. Looking up at them with determined faces, the patrol leaders looked at each other, then at their warriors, clearly uncertain how to proceed, and that's when they all received the broadcast from space, the images of Earth's children, of families, of a way of life neither species had experienced for centuries. Something began to change in the aliens' eyes as they looked from the images to the real children standing before them. The battle for Earth was taking an unexpected turn. The alien patrols stood frozen, weapons still raised but fingers no longer on triggers. The images from Captain Wright's broadcast filled their communication systems. Human children laughing, playing, being protected and loved by their parents. Lisa took another step forward. My mom says everyone can be friends if they try hard enough. The Valkyrie patrol leader lowered his weapon slightly. Why do you not cower, small human? Do you not understand we could destroy you? Mr. Bennett says you won't, Lisa replied simply. He says adults are supposed to protect kids, not hurt them. The leader looked at Krax. Is this what changed you? These small creatures and their strange ideas? Krax nodded slowly. They value their young differently than we do. Each child is treated as precious, not as a resource. It is worth considering. The Za'Tari squad leader tilted her head, large black eyes blinking. The collective has always taught that efficiency comes from separating reproduction from child-rearing, yet these humans, they keep their children close, Ellery finished. They teach them personally, they play with them. And look at how brave these young ones are, how creative, how trusting. Pole stepped forward to stand beside the children. Your war has nothing to do with us. We didn't ask for it. These children certainly didn't. All we want is to keep them safe. A strange silence fell over the clearing. In the distance, they noticed that the sounds of battle had diminished, fewer explosions. Fewer ships firing at each other. The Valkyrie patrol leader touched his armor, listening to a new transmission. His yellow eyes widened. Commander Drezek has ordered a temporary ceasefire, he said, sounding shocked. All Valkyrie forces are to stand down. The Za'Tari squad leader received a similar message. Overseer Nylith has also called for a ceasefire. This is unprecedented. In orbit, Captain Olivia Wright could hardly believe what was happening. The massive alien fleets had stopped firing at each other. Communication channels were opening between the ships. Captain, her communications officer called. We're receiving a joint transmission from both fleet commanders. They're requesting a meeting with human leaders. To discuss the children, Olivia sat back in her chair, stunned. They want to talk about our children? Yes, Captain. They seem particularly interested in what they call our offspring protection protocols. A slow smile spread across Olivia's face. Set up the communication and keep broadcasting those images. Back on the ground, Both alien patrols had fully lowered their weapons. Some were even approaching the children cautiously, examining these small humans with new interest. A young Valkyrie warrior knelt to look at Jordan's toy spaceship. "Your vessel has no weapons," he observed. "It's for exploring," Jordan explained, "not fighting." "Exploring," the warrior repeated, as if the concept was new to him. A Zetari technician was studying a drawing that one of the children had made. "The use of color is pleasing. We do not make images for pleasure in the collective." Paul watched in amazement as lifelong enemies put aside centuries of hatred to interact with the children. Even more surprisingly, the alien patrols were beginning to talk to each other without hostility. "The ceasefire holds," the Valkyrie leader told Paul. "We will escort you and the small humans to a secure location until formal discussions are complete." "Thank you," Paul said. He turned to the children. "Okay, everyone, we're going to keep moving to the caves. But it looks like we have more friends to help us now." Lisa looked up at Krax. "Does this mean the fighting is over?" The Valkyrie warrior placed a large hand gently on her head. "For now, small Lisa, perhaps for longer." As they walked toward the caves, the children between them, the aliens continued to receive the broadcast from the horizon. Images of schools, playgrounds, family dinners, bedtime stories. "We had these things once," an older Valkyrie warrior said quietly to a Zetari technician. "Before the war, families, children raised by their own parents. The collective has old records of such practices," the Zetari replied. "They were deemed inefficient." "But look at these humans," the warrior said, gesturing to the children walking between them. "Are they not brave, creative, strong in spirit?" "Perhaps there is more than one kind of efficiency," the Zetari conceded. 3 days later, the Science Center had been transformed into a meeting place. The damage was repaired by alien technology that seemed like magic to the humans. Representatives from both alien fleets sat across from human leaders, including Captain Olivia Wright. Paul and the children were special guests at the meeting. Lisa sat between Krax and Elarai, drawing pictures for both of them. Jordan was showing his toy spaceship to a group of fascinated Zetari technicians. Commander Drezek of the Valkyrie stood to address the gathering. "For 3 centuries we have fought the Zetari. We have forgotten why we fight. We have forgotten what we lost." Overseer Nylith of the Zetari stood as well. "Both our species once valued family units. We once raised our own young. In our quest for military and technological dominance, we sacrificed this practice. The humans have reminded us of another way," Drezek continued. "Their strength comes not from weapons or technology, but from how they nurture their young." Captain Wright stepped forward. "We welcome this ceasefire and the opportunity for peaceful relations with both your peoples. Earth wishes to remain neutral but open to cultural exchange." "We propose more than a ceasefire," Nylith said. "We propose a joint initiative between our species. The Zetari collective wishes to learn about human education methods, and the Valkyrie Empire wishes to study human family structures," Drezek added. "We have forgotten much that is worth remembering." The meeting concluded with an unprecedented agreement. Both alien species would withdraw their military forces from Earth. Instead, cultural exchanges would begin. And the first center for this exchange would be the rebuilt Science Center in Lakeside. 2 months later, Paul led a new group of students through the Science Center. The building now contained exhibits about Valkyrie and Zetari culture alongside the dinosaurs. In one room, Krax was teaching human children about Valkyrie history. His armor was gone, replaced by more casual clothing. He still looked fearsome, but the children showed no fear as they gathered around him. In another room, Elarai used all 4 of her arms to help children with science experiments. Her blue skin glowed with what Paul now recognized as happiness. Most remarkable of all was the new exhibit in the planetarium. There, young Valkyrie and Zetari visitors played alongside human children. Former enemies were now learning together, their parents, both alien and human, watching with pride. "Did you ever imagine this would happen?" Alan asked, standing beside Paul. Paul shook his head. "Never, but Lisa was right." "About what?" Paul smiled as he watched Lisa teaching a small Valkyrie child and a young Zetari how to draw stars together. Her mom sang, "Everyone can be friends if they try hard enough." Above them, where once alien warships had filled the sky, a new type of ship now orbited Earth, a vessel built by all three species together. Its mission was not war but exploration. Its name, painted in human, Valkyrie, and Zetari script on its side, was simple: the children's future. When human children had been threatened, alien enemies had joined forces to protect them. And in doing so, they had discovered a peace none had thought possible.